I sit on the edge of my couch, the dim glow of a single lamp casting shadows across my tiny apartment. The air feels heavy, like it's pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe. In front of me, a half-empty bottle of Merlot sits on the coffee table, its deep red hue mocking the blood I feel seeping from my heart. 3 years with Ethan. 3 years of hope, fights, and promises that now taste like ash in my mouth. I ended it with him 2 days ago for the second time. I thought I'd finally taken back my power, that I'd walked away from his lies and his vices. But today, a phone call from my doctor shattered that fragile victory. Ethan didn't just break my heart. He betrayed me in a way I never saw coming. He slept with someone else 2 weeks before our breakup, and he gave me an STD. The man I thought was loyal, the man I poured my soul into, had been living a lie. Now I'm left picking up the pieces of my self-worth, wondering if I'll ever trust again. My fingers tremble around my phone, the screen still glowing with the last text I sent him. We're done. Don't contact me. I typed it with shaking hands, my heart pounding with rage and despair. It wasn't just the cheating that cut me, it was the betrayal of everything I thought we had. I'd clung to the belief that, despite his flaws, Ethan was faithful. His excessive porn watching, the empty liquor bottles I'd find stashed behind the couch, the faint stench of weed on his clothes. I'd forgiven it all, telling myself loyalty was the one thing we had left. But I was wrong, so wrong. And now I'm sitting here, feeling like a fool, my body and heart violated by a man I loved. It wasn't always like this. When I met Ethan, I thought I'd found something real. It was a trivia night at a local bar 3 years ago. I was there with my friend Sarah, half-heartedly answering questions while nursing a gin and tonic. Ethan was at the next table, his crooked smile catching my eye as he teased me for acing the pop culture round but bombing the sports questions. He bought me a drink, and we talked until the bar closed, swapping stories about our childhoods, our dreams, the stupid things that made us laugh. He felt like sunlight breaking through the clouds of my past. I was cautious, still scarred from my ex, Jake, who'd cheated on me repeatedly and left bruises on my body and soul. But Ethan seemed different. He listened. He made me feel seen, or so I thought. The first cracks showed up 6 months in. I started noticing how Ethan would pull away, his eyes glassy from too much whiskey or weed. He'd spend hours on his phone, not texting friends or scrolling through X, but lost in a haze of pornography he didn't even try to hide. It's just a release, he'd say when I confronted him, his tone cold, like my feelings were a minor annoyance. I tried to understand, to chalk it up to stress from his dead-end job at the auto shop, but the more he indulged, the less he was there. Our dates turned into silent affairs, with Ethan staring into space, his mind somewhere I couldn't reach. When I tried to talk about my day or my hopes, he'd nod absently, his attention drifting like smoke. The first breakup came after 1.5 years. I'd found a bottle of vodka in his gym bag, along with a text from a coworker that read, "Last night was fun." My heart sank as I confronted him, my voice shaking with hurt. He swore it was nothing, just a drunken night out with the guys, but the trust was gone. I left, spending weeks piecing myself back together with Sarah's help, reminding myself I deserved better. Yet Ethan came back, eyes wet with tears, promising to change. He'd go to therapy, cut back on drinking, be the man I needed. I wanted to believe him. Against every ounce of logic, I let him back in, hoping love could fix what was broken. For a while, it seemed possible. Ethan was attentive, showing up with coffee during my late shifts at the bookstore, planning picnics by the river, but the old habits crept back like shadows. The porn returned, the weed became a daily ritual, and the alcohol flowed freely. Worse, he grew distant, his emotional unavailability a wall I couldn't climb. I'd cry myself to sleep some nights, wondering why I wasn't enough. The second breakup was inevitable. We fought, and Ethan admitted he didn't see a future with me. Not because he didn't love me, but because he didn't know how to love anyone, including himself. I walked away, determined to find my worth, to heal the wounds left by Ethan and the scars from Jake, whose abuse had made me wary of love in the first place. But then came the phone call, 2 days after the breakup. My doctor's voice was calm, professional, but each word hit like a punch. Positive, treatable, but serious. I pressed her for details, my voice barely steady, and learned the infection could only have come from Ethan. When I called him, my hands shaking with fury, he didn't deny it. It was one time, he said, his voice flat, like that made it okay. 2 weeks ago I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. But to me, it meant everything. It meant the loyalty I'd clung to was a lie, that the man I'd loved had risked my health, my trust, my future, for a fleeting moment of selfishness. Now, sitting in my apartment, I feel the weight of it all. 3 years of hope, pain and betrayal, piled on top of the scars Jake left behind. Jake was a different kind of monster. He cheated openly, laughing when I caught him, and his love often crossed into coercion, leaving me feeling powerless and violated. I'd spent years rebuilding myself after him, only to end up here again, betrayed by another man I trusted. The parallel is cruel, a reminder that love for me seems to come with a price I can't keep paying. But beneath the pain, something darker stirs. Revenge. Not the petty kind, slashing tyres or posting vague rants on X, but something deeper, more deliberate. I want Ethan to feel the weight of what he's done, to understand the wreckage he's left in my life. I imagine confronting him in front of his friends, exposing his lies with a calm, cutting precision that leaves him stripped bare. Or maybe I'd track down the woman he slept with, send her an anonymous note warning her about the man he really is. The thought brings a fleeting thrill, but it's not enough. Revenge, I realise, isn't about hurting him. It's about reclaiming myself, proving I'm stronger than the pain he's caused. I stand, pacing the room, my mind racing. I think of the nights I spent questioning my worth, blaming myself for Ethan's distance. I remember the excuses I made for him, the way I convinced myself his vices weren't a reflection of me. No more. I walk to my desk, pulling out a notebook I haven't touched in months. Writing has always been my refuge, a way to make sense of the chaos in my heart. I start to write, not a letter to Ethan, but a story, a fictionalized version of my pain, a way to process the betrayal and turn it into something powerful. In my story, I become Lily, a woman who mirrors my struggles, but with a sharper edge. Lily isn't just a victim. She's cunning, resourceful, a phoenix rising from the ashes. She discovers her partner's betrayal, a cheating scandal that echoes Ethan's, complete with a hidden affair and a health scare. But Lily doesn't crumble. She turns the tables, infiltrating her ex's world, befriending his new partner under the guise of kindness, planting seeds of doubt with a smile. She exposes his lies not with a dramatic confrontation, but with quiet, calculated moves, a whispered truth here, a leaked email there, until his carefully constructed life unravels. Lily doesn't destroy him, she lets him destroy himself, watching from the shadows as his world falls apart. My pen pauses, my breath catching. Is this revenge fantasy too much, or is it exactly what I need, a way to channel my pain into something fierce? I keep writing, the story growing darker, more suspenseful. Lily's ex starts to suspect someone's orchestrating his downfall, but he can't pin it on her. Strange things happen, his car keys go missing, his boss gets an anonymous tip about his late-night habits, his new fling starts asking questions he can't answer. The tension builds, each page a release for my anger, my disappointment, my need to be seen. Hours pass, the wine bottle now empty, my notebook filled with pages of Lily's triumph. I lean back, exhausted, but lighter. Writing Lily's story isn't just catharsis. It's a mirror, showing me the strength I didn't know I had. I don't need to destroy Ethan in real life. I don't need to confront him or warn his new fling. My revenge is in my resilience, in refusing to let his betrayal define me. I close the notebook, a small smile tugging at my lips. Ethan might never know the depth of my pain, but he'll never know the height of my comeback either. Healing is a long road, I know. Trust, once shattered, doesn't mend easily. Jake taught me that, and Ethan drove it home. The thought of dating again feels like climbing a mountain, the idea of opening my heart a risk I'm not ready to take. But as I look around my apartment, the bookshelves I built myself, the plants I've nurtured back to life, I see proof of my own strength. I survived Jake. I'll survive Ethan. And one day, I'll write a new story. One where love doesn't come with betrayal, where my heart is whole. For now, I'll focus on me. I'll go to therapy, lean on Sarah, keep writing. I'll let the pain fuel me, not consume me. And if a part of me still dreams of Ethan facing the consequences of his actions, well, that's human. I'm not a saint, and I don't need to be. I'm Mia, and I'm enough.